Hello and welcome to a new series we are running called A Day in the Life of an Accountant to get a more detailed perspective of how accountants work. By way of introduction, my name is Rajesh Chawla and I'm the Compliance Product Manager at CCH iFirm. And today we are joined by Rajesh Chawla, a Director at RCB Advisors. Firstly, Rajesh, welcome, and how are you today?
Very well. Thank you, Viraj, for having me. And yes, extremely well with the Melbourne sunny weather. Can't complain.
Yep, that's great to hear. Could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and also RCB Advisors?
Sure. Look, I'm Rajesh Chawla. Obviously, I'm started my career very early in the mid 80s back in India. Starting RCB Advisors about 8 years ago now. We're just completing 8 years in the end of June. So we started with one of my fellow business partners who heads the financial planning division or wealth management side of things, and I look after more the business tech and superannuation strategies. It's been a fantastic journey so far.
Yep, that's great to hear. And I believe you weren't always an accountant. Though, sort of when and why, and what made you move into the accounting profession?
Yeah, that's interesting. Life is, they say, is a beautiful journey, and I've been very fortunate experiencing various aspects of my professional life. I started my career, as I said earlier, back in the 80s with going into accounting profession, mostly audits and some tax. Audit wasn't my thing. I probably saw the day of flight and moved to Dubai. I worked in various media, advertising, fashion industries over the next 12 months or 12 years rather, and really experienced that. That opened the life and the door for me in terms of who I was and what I was doing with my life. So that's been really interesting and challenging assignments over the years.
Yep.
And then
Really
we got back to Australia in 2001 and migrated, and that was when I got back into the profession again.
Right, interesting. So you come from a vast experience of different industries as well.
Yes, various. I've worked in advertising agency, worked with the media company, running radios and TV stations, work in the fashion industry, so involved in the fashion shows, channel development, a lot of marketing and branding activities around in the media and the fashion world. So it was interesting seeing the other aspects of, how accounting and the numbers work. So it's been good. That experience sort of broadened me and opened my sort of a mind with a different, very wide horizon, which has really helped me over the years in the profession that I'm in now.
Yep. Oh, really interesting. And we've had a couple of conversations prior to this, and every time we chat, you always mention the importance of your clients and really building lasting relationships with them. And I'm sure you've experienced this across the industries you've worked prior. And in our last call, I recall you actually said the value of accounting is in building relationships. That's what the job is really about. Can you sort of expand on that quote further?
Yeah, sure. Look, I mean, when I moved back into the profession, the idea was, what do we do? You go into the accounting firm, you get put in a box and say, you manage client affairs, do their taxes, prepare the financial, provide some advice here and there. And when I moved back into the profession, I had a very different approach to it. It wasn't what we did as accountant. It was why we did it that triggered me. The numbers are numbers. Numbers are really important. Science has given us number other than the accountants, and it's often said accountants are the people with the numbers. But I saw the other side of the numbers. It's these days, our life, everything around us is about numbers. Our air, water, you name it, and you have it. It plays that significant a number. So the impact of numbers, I really was interested in what is behind those numbers. We do the tax returns or financial statements. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? And who are the people behind it? What are their stories? What are their aspirations? Those are the questions were really important to me coming into the accounting profession as to what value am I going to do? What am I doing preparing a tax return? That's an outcome. That's like 12 months, 18 months down the line. So I was keen in knowing people their stories, their aspirations as to if they're in a business, why are they in that business? What's that business like? And if they're not in the business, they are doing their jobs or whatever else they are doing for a living. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And what is it that their end game in terms of, where do they see themselves going in the next 5, 7, 10, 15 years of their lives, not even longer.
Yep.
So unless you get to know those people, unless you hear those stories, you really cannot value the outcomes that you're delivering for them. And I found that my sort of experience from dealing in those those challenging industries of media and advertising, and basically it was always about people. And I said, why don't I bring that into the profession? And that's how I started my career back in Australia. I got to know clients, I got to know their stories. And that's really important because I felt that the more I knew about people, more I knew about their aspirations, and more I knew about their challenges, the better job I could do in whatever we are doing as accountants. So, you really, that's where I believe that we are about people, we are about relationships, and that is the key to our success and their success. And that's where, Viraj, every time we get excited, I'm very passionate about relationships, and that is one of our missions too. So hence, I believe that in whatever profession you are, you got to know people, and once you know people, then I think you give yourself a better chance of doing a better service for them.
Agree. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we're actually very similar. Going back to the people coming prior to Walters School, I joined Walters School. I actually come from an accounting background myself. And I worked in practice for several years. And yeah, for me as well, the people was really the key. And I actually think, a lot of our Walters School's employees and also the product team, given that we are former accountants ourselves, I think, we really better understand the people, accountants, and what really drives their day-to-day operations and also drives their pain points. And I guess you mentioned understanding the people and building relationships and putting customers first is the key. How do you sort of find yourself balancing, focusing on the people, focusing on understanding the people, along with the admin work, which I remember a lot, which comes, with being an accountant?
Yeah, look, I mean, when we set up this business 8 years ago, one thing, having worked in the profession for 14 years earlier, I sort of felt that we had to do things differently. There is always going to be challenges in terms of admin, but that's okay. You employ people to do it. You set systems up, processes up, and you deal with the right systems. That's pretty critical in managing your admin side. But it's inevitable. It's going to be part of your life. But how much time you spend as part of your business on that aspect determines to a large extent your success or failure, in my views. So hence, but what is non-negotiable in our profession is the client focus. So focusing on client needs and then what sort of a services we end up, solutions we end up providing them is the best part of what we do. And yes, you're right, absolutely, that there is a lot of time on the admin side of things. So when we set this practice up, I really spent good amount 3 months in assessing what this practice is going to be like. How do we see this practice working? What are we standing for? What is our mission? In those sort of respects, we were very clear in our approach in terms of we want to be dealing with clients that we can relate to, and we, as you know, in our profession, I think is a big thing. So we got to be professional and ethical in whatever we do, and that was a non-negotiable for us. You select clients on the basis, then you determine the services that you have the abilities to provide them, and that is not driven by what you want to do for them. It is driven by more what really clients need. What are their challenges? Again, you go back to those relationship build up. You get to know your clients, you get to understand their problems, and then you come up with solutions. Solutions are provision of multiple factors. It's you, your team, which is critical, and the systems behind it. So when we were establishing what system we needed for our practice, we wanted always to be a cloud-based practice. So we looked around various suppliers in the market or provision of services, and we assess those solutions. And that was predominantly to manage the admin aspect of it. And also to an extent doing the outcomes in terms of tax and whatever we were trying to do. And hence came the CCH, as one of our options that we were considering. And I'm glad that we went that path and not focusing on the costing aspects of that solution, but more importantly, how well and how smartly we wanted to manage the admin aspect. So that's a big cost on you, and not just on you as a business owner. I think it's all the team that gets impacted by the admin side of things. So we really spend a lot of time in assessing as to what our practice says, how does it look like. And I can very proudly say, looking back 8 years, we've come a long way, and we've come a very good way, and well supported by the system that we use. So yes, Viraj, as much as it's a challenge, could I be doing less admin? Absolutely, that's always the case. But one thing you never lose sight of is your client focus, and that's what we are.
Correct. Yes, and on that client focus, you mentioned the word value a few times, and really, delivering a greater value to your clients. Is what would you say? Is there anything you'd like to add to your prior response on what you would say is the meaning of delivering value for your clients? You talked about CCH IFM as a software really driving that service. You talked about better understanding your clients and people. Is there anything else that you would really define as delivering value to your end clients?
It's a very interesting question, value, Viraj. I mean, every day you get asked that question in terms of you challenge yourself in your own sense. I think value is very subjective. It's, for us, we are absolutely clear as to what that means. Value to us is in when you can build a very trustworthy relationship with your clients, which is based on your ethical approach to what you do. Value to clients could be in various ways. It's measurables, tangible and intangible. And so you look through all of those aspects, just delivering their tax outcomes in terms of lodgements of returns and everything else, financial statements in time. To some, there is no value in it. To us, there is a value in it, because if you can let your clients sleep nicely without worrying about these aspects of their business, well, that's a value added there. But that's very small, tangible. Value goes much beyond that in our eyes, that it is the trusted relationship you build up with clients where there is a mutual respect and regard, and the recognition of the fact that they would discuss whatever business matters, or sometimes beyond business matters, and they can talk about those things very openly. And we don't need to be providing all the solutions, but where we provide value is in assessing the needs and the challenges our clients face, and then bringing people to help us delivering those solutions to their problems. That's a great value. So we do ask our clients sometimes in various informal and formal settings as to how they perceive us. So that's important. It's one perception of me or us as RCB advisors can be very different to how our clients perceive us. So that's really important. So yeah, the value is, helping clients talk about stuff or dealing the challenges, and it doesn't need to be relating to accounts or tax. It can be a very business relation, and that's where the business strategies and all those stuff comes in. So yeah, value is critical, and I think we are pretty much clear in how we perceive the value and how our clients perceive the value dealing with us.
Sure, awesome. And for me, I think value almost comes back to how many hours you have in the day. It often comes back to time. How much time are you able to spend on those value-adding services and building those client relationships you're talking about. So I guess recently we've just come out of a busy period for accountants, and the new financial year is just around the corner. I'm sure you and your firm have been busy with lodgements, BAS reporting, and some changes with the corporate tax world. How do you find yourself sort of managing that time better in your day-to-day life as an accountant?
Look, the accounting profession or the tax side of things is always evolving, and so does our challenges. There are challenges that are very there. We're defined by the lodgements driven by the tax office and other bodies, and then you tend to work. But fortunately for us this year, we've been pretty good in managing those obligations for clients. But you're right, this time of the year is always it's the most important part of us, and that's, we get a lot of thrill out of that, and that's where deliver a lot of value in terms of completion and executing and implementing all the tax planning opportunities pre 30th June. A lot of times we are ahead in time. A lot of times you're chasing a tail. That's the reality of our profession, because there's so many things can happen, and then you're focusing on each and every client of yours and ensuring that you are providing that tax optimization solutions. That's just one aspect of managing clients' challenges. Few things we focus on is the asset protection, risk management, and the tax optimization, not in any particular order, but there are three critical aspects, pillars of our strength and of our service offering. Coming to the end of financial year, it's similar in every year. Tax laws are changing all the time. You want to make sure that you are on top of it, and you communicate any impacts on that to your clients in a timely fashion, so that you can then implement any or provide or identify any changes that needs to happen. So it's like something that you do. You don't stress about it. You know that that's coming your way, and you plan to manage it, because you've got to run your affairs tight and pretty nice, for you to be able to justify similar sort of an outcome for your clients too.
Sure. And you mentioned, obviously you've been running your RCB advisors for several years now. What's sort of the most challenging part of running RCB, and how do you find yourself overcoming these?
I guess the 8 years that we've set up this business, and before that, I was a partner in another larger firm. So as sort of when you have that sort of a responsibility in managing a business, it's not just about you. It's the most important thing in your business is your people, and managing those people is really critical, and that is the most challenging aspects, I believe, because it's not just you as a business owner or a co-owner. It is your team, it is your clients, it is your suppliers. Wherever there's a human interaction, there is, and none of those things you can take for granted. So really, it's natural to some people, human relationships. To others, it's not. So you always enjoy that. I personally enjoy that challenging aspect of our business. Delivering outcome is fine. That you do that at day in, day out. There could be challenges there in terms of something new that you haven't dealt with before. You go and seek help, or you find the answers for them. That's an easy part. I think getting across to the people, I believe, is pretty important, and that is like, that's your challenge. That's your mission. In our case, relating to everything is that we want to be happy. We want a happy team at RCB Advisors. That was the whole idea when we set it up. One of our key milestones or mission is to be happy, and that happiness will come when people around you are happy, and your clients are happy. So it's a very interconnected thing, and you want to make sure that you stay on top of that, because things are sometimes not going to be how you anticipate it to be, and you've got to be taking your stride and dealing with it. So yeah, coming back to your question, I reckon managing people and their expectations in terms of clients or staff or us is pretty important, along with the technical side of our profession in which we very proudly play our role.
Yeah. Really, really interesting. And for me, people and technology go hand in hand. And you mentioned earlier software, in particular CCH iFirm, and moving on to the cloud being really, really important for RCB advisors. I guess for people out there who maybe are our current customers or are thinking about becoming one, can you sort of talk a little bit about why you decided to take on iFirm for your particular firm?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the solutions we picked up, being a cloud-based practice, was that we wanted someone who could provide us with the basic solutions to enable us to do and produce the tax returns for the tax office and have them lodged. I have dealt with many systems over my professional career, and there are solutions out there which are for larger firms. There are solutions that are there for a smaller firm. But we were very fortunate to have one of your employees in the sales side, Robert Hanson. He was fantastic. He came down and talked to us, and we were setting this small practice with 3 people. So there were other competitors in the market that we looked at, and we wanted somebody who could really understand what we are trying to build here. And it was Robert's insight and the way that he dealt with us, understood our requirements. And guess the next thing, in 3 months when we had to make a call, there was no surprises. We really went with CCHI from at the time because it provided us everything that we needed in one place. And it was backed by technology. It was backed by great people that we heard of. You only experience those after the events. In over the 8 years, we've had fantastic relationships. So when we signed up with CCH, I think most important challenge among the IT side is, what are you looking for? How does different aspect of your practice management, talk to each other? So when we signed up with CCH, they had a suite of product offerings, and we went with most of it, what was relevant, and a couple that were ahead of the time, we still signed up. And I would not make another decision that lightly. It was really an important decision. I'm glad we went with CCH, and it's been fantastic for us, in that respect of technology and the help it has given us.
Yep, that's awesome. That's great to hear, Rajesh. And is there any? You already talked about some of the benefits, but is there any key benefits you would like to highlight since moving to CCH iFirm?
Yeah, sure. Look, we had, when we went with CCH, we went with all sort of steps. So we had the journal ledger and the tax, which was very apparent to you as an accountant. You need those things to produce it. But what went beyond was, we used your I Know, which was a very research-based platform. We had IQ, which was supposed to be a very intelligent sort of a module to your offering, which will pick up any changes in the tax laws and alert us to our clients. But the couple of more very important value add for us was the digital sign-off facility. So we were using another supplier, Adobe Acrobat via your software. That was really important. And in recent years, you have created your own. CCH uses its own. I believe that's pretty effective because there is, very from not just from the admin point of view, from an efficiency point of view, the digital sign-off has been a blessing. And then later on in the years, the portal, when you started building the client portal, I mean, that's been just fantastic. Those are really important aspects beyond just the basic thing that you get from every supplier in terms of tax and accounting. I think it was the I Know and portal and digital sign-off, backed by a fantastic team that you guys have got. I must say, Viraj, that we've had ups and downs at our service relationship with CCH, where there was a time when we were a bit challenged by the support side of things. But I think last 2 years it's been fantastic since you guys have, people have come on board and they understand a smaller practice, what that can really do. And so if somebody out there looking to set up a practice or review their system software, CCH is a great product. You couldn't go wrong as long as you understand what each modules can do for you. It'll be a good decision to make.
Awesome. Yeah, and you mentioned, Rajesh, the research tools, IQ Connect, the portal, and you mentioned the key word there, efficiency. How would you sort of define efficiency? Because I believe it's key, in your day-to-day operations and really driving efficiency. But how would you sort of define that word?
So the efficiency is in terms of how quickly you can do a task and maintaining the quality that you expect. You talk about I Know, I can talk about the digital sign-offs. In the past, you would print out documents, send it to the clients in the mail, they sign it, send it back to you. It's a longer time frame. You can turn a job around. It's a lot of paperwork. We are all talking about the environment. We are near 100% digital firm. So your portal sign-offs, portal availability of uploading documents and stuff, that saves us hours and hours and hours of admin work. And more importantly, the amount of paper that we have to print out now. We don't print out much unless the client requires us to print out. So the whole digital aspect is a very efficient in terms of better usage of your time with the limited resources that you have as a smaller firm. I think it enables us to complete the job from start to the end in a very short span of time, and without involving the rims of papers that you have to print out and use, which is not greatly environmental friendly. So those two things has been fantastic solution for us in our team to focus on clients' work rather than trying to get the admin tasks, printing and everything else, done. And I know you spoke about it. Look, I know is a fantastic program that it enables us to have a second and a very readily available breadth of knowledge there that we can embark on when you are faced with the challenging equation in the tax laws. That provide us with a breadth of experience in terms of what we are looking for with the practical examples and the legislation and the rulings. So everything seems to be in one place rather than me trying to navigate 3 or 4 portals. That saves our time in the research aspects, and that's the time that you can actually spend on a value add work with the clients.
Correct. Yes, very well said. And earlier we talked about sort of the most challenging parts about running RCB advisors. What would you say on the flip side is the most satisfying part of running your firm?
Yeah, I think the most satisfying fact is coming to the office or working for RCB advisors every morning. Wait, I'm not kidding, but when we set up a practice, our key thing was that we want to be happy and we want to be doing this and we want to have fun out of that. And you'll be surprised talking in a firm which does a lot of accounting work, but a lot of advisory work too. Saying that we enjoy and we are happy doing work, absolutely. And I think that is still very fresh, that we live that every day, coming here and enjoying. And that comes from the client success and challenges that we help them resolve. And that's something that keeps you motivated and very active. And if that's what you're looking for in your happiness, well, you get that every day. So it's been good. We've been fortunate that we continue to remain that and maintain what we wanted to achieve out there every single day. So yeah, that's been the positive side of things.
Yes, it's just like there's a happiness is the key to success, and sounds like you're very happy.
Absolutely, we're fortunate we are, and I think if you can't be happy, that's going to get through your work and to your clients, and it's not a good position to be in. So it's imperative that you look after and you're very clear in what you're looking for in your life. And as a leader of RCB advisors, that's exactly what is important to us.
Sure. And coming back to the accounting industry, you've now worked in accounting for over 8 years. Sort of two sides of this question. One, what do you see has changed, in the period you've been in the accounting industry? And secondly, what would you like to see change more about in the accounting profession?
Yeah. So look, I've been in this profession in Australia for over 22 years, right? And RCB Advisors is about 8 years old. And things have changed during these 20 years. Many of you would not have seen any manual books being maintained. In the old days, when I started here, there was still, there was a lot of technology there, but wasn't one that allowed you to work from anywhere in the world. So that's been a biggest drive in terms of technology. So the ability of people to work remotely in the old days was through the remote desk connections. And again, when we set up our RCB advisors, we want to be on the cloud. And that means that we could operate a practice practically anywhere in the world as long as you have the internet access. So I believe from a technology point of view, that's been the biggest change. I got told when I came here 20 years ago, our tax laws in Australia were about that thick, and they're about this thick, 2 volumes and 3 volumes. That is not changing, man. You talk about what could change in a profession. I hope one day that tax system is more simplified in our country, and profession is more of about the advisory side of what value you bring beyond completing the tax returns, and a lot of our resources goes in completing those tax returns. And if those laws can be more simplified for everyday Australians, not everybody is running a business and who has the ability to. So I would like that changed. I would like a profession to move away from what is notorious in my views as the timesheet sort of a system where you base your billings based on the time. I would like personally to, coming out of the the marketing background and working those industries that I work for, it was always what can you do and what have you done for the clients in that respect, or what value have you driven, and then sometimes it's easy to quantify a fee on the basis, sometimes it's not. Hence possibly the reason why the timesheet system originated in the first place. But I would like to see that gradually changing. I'm hearing things are moving in the right direction, and accountants become more of collaborators. It's not about working for or against each other. It's working with each other to provide the best value to the clients, and the collaboration is, it's a fantastic opportunity out there for all of us. Hopefully, in short span of time, things are rightly moving in the right direction. Technology is driving a lot of that, but technology brings challenges too, as we are seeing. So so hopefully, the artificial intelligence that everybody is talking about only aids our profession and our relationship with our clients, not otherwise.
Okay, so really about that value-based service and also value-based pricing. So,
absolutely.
Yes. Awesome. Well, that sort of brings us to the end of the questions. Any other final comments or thoughts, Rajesh, that you would like to add before we conclude?
No, thanks for having me again. Look, I mean, we've discussed all about a firm and journey in profession and how we work about the clients. But if we last word would be that whatever you do, stay happy and work hard for it. That's a mantra to success in my journey of life.
Agree. No, I definitely respect that. And I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. This was a very insightful conversation, and learned a lot about yourself and also how you continue to drive and deliver value for your clients at RCB Advisors. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Rajesh. Yeah, hope you have a great rest of the day and stay happy.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you.